So again, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here today. I'm Ginny Handbridge. I'm the Executive Director for the Connecticut chapter of the Alzheimer's Association. I'm so glad to be here with you. Welcome to How Alzheimer's Impacts the Workplace. We've asked you all to come here today to talk about this important issue. You most likely have employees or colleagues dealing with this challenging disease, and they may not be talking about it. And how can we make it better for these folks? Today, we'll hear from representatives from companies that we collaborate with all over the state, and we're going to hear their take on Alzheimer's and other forms of dementia and what they have done or continue to do for their employees, and how reaching out to us can help support them and you in building a productive workforce. It's very challenging these days, we know, with so much coming at us, and we're here to help you in any way we can. And we're going to share some opportunities to show you how you can get involved with our organization later in this presentation. I want to give a shout out, a special thanks to Hartford Healthcare for sponsoring this important event. So thank you, they're a wonderful partner. Next slide, please. So today, more than 6 million people are living with Alzheimer's disease in the United States alone, and more than 16 million Americans, many family members, provide unpaid care for those individuals. Let that sink in. That's a lot of people that are providing unpaid care. Here in Connecticut, there are 80,000 people living with the disease and twice as many caregivers. And so many of them, if you're thinking about it, are working a job that they're paid for and then going home or flexing their hours, whatever they're doing, to provide that unpaid care for a loved one. So what are we doing to help at the Alzheimer's Association? We serve the families living with dementia and those concerned about the disease. We have a 24/7 800 line that is not just a crisis line. It is a helpline. People who are concerned about their own memory loss, employers concerned about employees, can call this number at whatever hour that you see on this slide, 1-800-272-3900. You can get information and referrals to local resources. For example, I need the name of an elder care attorney, or perhaps you want to be connected to a local support group. And there are so many other types of resources available that we can share with you with that number. And thank you, Stacy, for putting that into the chat. You and your employees can also schedule a care consultation to help guide your family through this process. All of these services are free. They're free because of the work that we do in our events and other things that you will see. Again, you'll hear more about later on in this presentation. If you can take anything away from this presentation today, please make sure your employees know about the 800 number. It is a fabulous resource that if we could have everyone in our state, in our country, know that this is available, we would be completing a very important job. But of course, there's so much we offer companies, other things we offer companies. Our education classes remain the mostly virtual right now, but we are developing some more in-person. And as we all go back to the way things were maybe 20 years ago, 2 years ago, we'll see. But right now we have a lot of these programs available to you and your organization. Some of them include Know the 10 Signs of Alzheimer's, Effective Communication Skills, Healthy Living for Your Brain and Body. And these are perfect for your health and wellness programs. So if you're an HR professional that's joining us, please feel free to contact us, and we're happy to put together a program for your employees. All the classes are online, as I said, and available on our website as well. So either we can provide a program through one of our volunteer driven programs, or you can access them right on our website. We also have support groups for caregivers and those in the early stages of dementia. And there's some great early stage programming available to folks. We also have a very robust advocacy program where people share their stories and create change on the state and local level. And why is this important to mention in this presentation? Oftentimes people that are dealing with Alzheimer's or a family member, they want an outlet. They want their voices heard. So making that information available to your employees is a wonderful way for them to have some strength and share what they're going through. And by doing that, they're helping so many more people that are affected by this disease. We also fund research across the nation, and $2 million is reinvested right here in Connecticut in our wonderful institutions throughout the state. And we're getting closer to more and more cures and treatments that are going to help these families that are dealing with this disease. And all of these things are possible, as I've said already, through the people that support us. And they support us through our events, such as our signature walk, a signature event, Walk to End Alzheimer's, our longest day, and other events we do, and simply by people making generous donations throughout the year. And that's how we can bring these free services to you and to your employees. So now I'm going to hand the stage over to Kristen Casado, our Director of Communications, and she's going to introduce our panel today. Kristen?
Excellent. Thank you, Ginny. Thanks everybody for joining us today. We know this disease affects every part of your life, right? It affects your physical, your emotional, your financial, and what you do during the day, especially if you're working. And priorities shift, you have to keep working even though you're taking care of someone unless you can. One of our caregivers, Lisa Marshall, who we talk about quite often, had to retire early in her 50s to take care of her husband, for an example. We know that this really affects every aspect of families. In fact, we want to share that about 25% of caregivers are in the sandwich generation. And many of you on the call may be in that as well. What does that mean? That means you're right in the middle. You've got parents to take care of and children as well. So you have your time split in addition to working. You know that it's very, very impactful. 18.5 billion hours of unpaid caregiving. A lot of people are taken care of in the home too. You don't think about that as much, but there's a lot of people who are taken care of in the home, not just in facilities. You hear all about mother-in-law apartments or father-in-law apartments. A lot of people just kind of moving right in. We have several people who have their loved ones who just have moved right in with them, so they take care of them in the home as well. Financially, this is a very, very, very expensive disease. It's about $350,000 or more per individual case. Could cost the nation $1.1 trillion. And it's just really, really affects, in addition to the burden of caregiving, it really affects your company productivity, because if people are not resting or people are not sleeping, for example, they're not going to be quite as sharp at work. So that's why we really want to talk about the fact that we can pair with companies to allow for education and allow for the opportunity to have a support group. Tell people about the fact that we have respite. Caregivers need respite. We always talk about how important it is for the caregiver that you must take care of yourself. You must take your oxygen first. Otherwise, you're not going to be a good caregiver to someone else. And showing you here some of the things that the impact on the workplace. 6 in 10 caregivers were employed last year. So they are in your company. They might not be talking about it, but they're there. 57%, so more than half the caregivers who you have came in late, not coming in late because they're lazy, not coming in late because they're not planning, coming in late because they're caregiving. Maybe had to take time off, maybe had to take too much time off, maybe unpaid time off. A lot of people had to cut back their hours. 9%, including yours included, had to give up work entirely, quit the job to go take care of your person. And a lot of people have to retire early. So let me just share this really quick story, a true story about someone who we were involved with, the family. A man was having some performance issues at work. There were some concerns about what was going on, and the employee was talked to, all the things that happen when that kind of thing happens. And eventually his boss had to call him into the office and let him go due to poor performance. Well, he had been diagnosed with, he needed to have a diagnosis of dementia. He was having some dementia issues. That next day, he walked into work and tried to clock in, but his card didn't work because he'd been let go the day before and he didn't recall. Because this disease really has a lot of short-term memory issues. Longer-term memories remain. So we connected with that company to offer education classes to say, do you need some information on support groups? Just like we've connected with the companies who you are about to hear from right now. I would like to introduce to you Angela DeLeon, who's former crime prevention specialist and senior community relations specialist with People's Bank, Jack Evans, who's a financial advisor with Edward Jones, and Patty O'Brien, who's a dementia specialist with Hartford Healthcare. Thank you all so much for being with us today. And we are going to take the slide down and talk with these folks and hear a little bit about their relationship to us and what they do. So Angela, we'll start with you. If you guys could all go for about a minute and share a little bit about what you do, your connection to the disease, and how you work with us at the Alzheimer's Association.
Well, as you know, I was formerly with People's United Bank, and we were very close with the Alzheimer's Association. We had what was called a lunch and learn with Alzheimer's, which helped our employees personally. A lot of our employees who signed up for it were caregivers for someone with dementia. Therefore, they were able to learn the 10 signs of dementia. They were also able to learn that there was a program in the state of Connecticut called PFMLA, which is the Paid Family Leave, which started last year in Connecticut, and that will pay up to 12 weeks to help someone who is caring for someone with dementia. So I think that's very, very important that they have a point person in each organization who truly understands the challenges that affect someone who has Alzheimer's or is caring for someone with Alzheimer's. It also affects the clientele, the customers. How do you detect it? How do you deal with it? Very, very important.
Excellent. Thank you, Angela. Jack, why don't you go next?
Sure. Hello, everyone. Yeah, so I'm connected to Alzheimer's through my employer, Edward Jones. It's a presenting sponsor. So in 2016, it made a pledge with $25 million to help support Alzheimer's. It signed another 5-year pledge in 2020. And I'm super proud to be involved with a company that works with Alzheimer's so closely, because it's affected me and my family as well. As Penny Pennington, the Edward Jones managing partner, puts it, our purpose at Edward Jones is to partner for positive impact, to provide the lives of our clients and colleagues, and together better our communities and society. Alzheimer's disease devastates relationships and finances. Two things we work so hard to protect. We're going to keep walking, educating, and advocating until we put an end to this terrible disease. So I work in a capacity with Edward Jones, where I'm the regional coordinator and a team captain, and I am on the board here at Hartford, Connecticut. So I'm doing my best as part of Edward Jones to educate and provide financial support to the association.
Excellent. Thank you, Jack. Yeah, Jack's on our Hartford Walk Committee, which is an important role. And if you guys want to get involved in that, we can put some information in the chat. Patty.
Sure. So I work for Hartford Healthcare. I'm one of the dementia specialists. And when we thought about who are we going to sponsor this year, it was a no-brainer. As some of our physicians sit on the Medical Scientific Advisory Board. Here at the Center for Healthy Aging, we have 5 support groups every month. And we utilize that 1-800 number on a regular basis. It's not just for families or caregivers, it's for us, the professionals also. Call them with maybe a story or a situation I have, and they talk it out with me. It's fantastic. And all employees should know about that 1-800 number. We have walk teams here, and also I sit on the advocacy team because we know, right, that who's going to get us to more money and better treatments It's the Alzheimer's Association. So as I sit here as Hartford Healthcare and we align our missions, it is about taking care of people where they are and in our communities. And certainly, you know, Hartford Healthcare and the Alzheimer's Association work on that every day. You know, proud to be part of this team as we move all of our missions forward.
Excellent. Thank you, Patty. Jack, let's go back to you and tell us what you do see in your work, and what's the need for education and resources for your clients?
Well, Alzheimer's and other dementias impact an estimated 300,000 Edward Jones clients. So we have a lot of our clients are affected by this. 1 in 3 seniors dies with Alzheimer's or other dementias. So it's a big part of our what we have to deal with in our everyday job. So it's important to help Edward Jones financial advisors. We do online education pieces so that the staff are aware of what can impact their clients and what to look out for. And then we have educational pieces for our clients and their families so that they can help things as courses that will help them sort of avoid scams and things like that. So there's a variety of different training and support programs that we put on for not only our staff but our clients as well.
In fact, perfect timing to mention tomorrow there is a program in person. Some of our, as Ginny mentioned, some of our education programs are back in person, but a lot of them are still virtual. Maybe we can put some information in the chat, but tomorrow there is a Protecting Your Health and Wealth program pairing up with an Edward Jones person up in the Litchfield area, Litchfield Community Center tomorrow afternoon at 1:30. So we can put some information in there if you're interested. So just showing an example of pairing with these folks. And Angela, why don't you talk a little bit about the trainings that have happened and some of the things that your employees have learned and been able to use, because they're on the front line seeing these folks. We were talking earlier, people our age, what's the age, right? It's a lot of the younger folks and people, middle age might not go into the banks. People going into the banks are the folks who are at the greatest risk for this disease.
Yeah, before I left, before we merged with M&T Bank, we did a survey of people coming into the bank that were having problems, whether it was cognitive issues, or if they were being scammed or whatever. But one of the biggest problems that we did have was someone coming into the bank, an older adult with cognitive issues. So your people have to be trained on how to detect it and then how to deal with it. You certainly cannot fight with someone who is saying that they're very positive that one of the tellers has stolen their money, has taken their money. You just have to know how to speak to that person so that you're speaking to them with total respect. So that is one of the problems that we did find. We just recently had a man who came in who was having problems feeling that everyone was stealing his money and that his wife was trying to kill him. So you have to have a procedure in place. And of course, with Edward Jones, I'm sure you know that the Privacy Act comes into play with this. So if someone is not on the account, you cannot approach them and say, your mom came in, your dad came in, whatever. And is having a problem. You can't even tell that person if they're not on the account that person was in the bank or in the facility, in Edward Jones' office. So that is a very difficult situation. So what we did was we appealed to Adult Protective Services, because then in the state of Connecticut, and I see you, Patty, shaking your head. Yeah. In the state of Connecticut, we can without violating the Privacy Act, talk to Adult Protective Services and give a referral there. Now, many times the person is definitely being exploited. That is when we reach out to the police department. Now, again, even with police departments, we can't reveal a lot of information. We can give some information, but not all the information. Therefore, we have to kind of backdoor it through Adult Protective Services in order to help this person. So it is very, very important that with all businesses, they have some type of a procedure in place.
Absolutely. Very, very good point. Patty, what are you seeing at work? I know we had talked earlier, seeing a lot of need for a lot of folks with younger onset are coming forward now.
Yeah, so I think as I'm getting into my middle 50s and you see the birth date of someone and it's younger than you, it takes you back, right? It makes you really think, okay, this is getting even more real as I work in this field for a number of years. But you're right, there are 50-year-olds, there are young 60-year-olds that are still working. They're holding the health insurance, they're holding their family together, and now they are disrupted by this diagnosis of the dementia. And it is finding those right attorneys, those correct physicians to really first be able to really diagnose what we're seeing, because there's other things, of course, that can cause cognitive changes that can be fixed. And we want to make sure everything's ruled out till we come up with that definite diagnosis. When they come to us here at the center, we're really looking for resources. What's out there for them? And certainly we partner with the association when it comes to their grant. People use that. Also the state respite grant through our state government, that our advocacy, right, at the Alzheimer's Association goes to fight for every year. You know, I'm up at Hartford saying, let's look at this. These are our numbers. Where do I get those numbers? From the Alzheimer's Association. So, you know, giving us the education, giving us the support that we need so we can use a voice to help not only our folks in extended years, but our younger onset folks. It's a different situation. Just to share a story, I recently got a client, she's 51. I had to text her daughter who's in high school, and she'll text me back when she gets out of class. That was my first texting situation I've had since I've texted some of my caregivers, but it was the first time. This is how you contact the daughter. So, you know, getting more creative in what we need to do. I think as we move forward with this relationship, stronger relationship, I'll call it, with Hartford Healthcare and the Alzheimer's Association, one of the things I'm most excited about is a focus of working with our primary care physicians and giving them education. You know, our geriatricians, they work in this field, they understand this field, but a lot of times clients, patients, who do they go to first? That primary physician. And the primary physician needs to know about the Alzheimer's Association. They need to know that, you know, here's a number you can call, because there's a saying, right? When any chronic disease that you get, when you get told you have Alzheimer's, you hit the brick wall. What do I do next? Who do I call? Who do I see? And just having that link is huge. So that's one of the things I'm most excited about, this stronger relationship with Hartford Healthcare and the Alzheimer's Association, is working with our primaries to make sure that folks are getting the support that they need.
Thank you. I'm going to stick with you, Patty, and then go back around the horn. What you were saying that earlier, that colleagues also might need this, right? So this is not just for clients of, we have various, you know, businesses on today. This is not just for your clients or the people you deal with. This is for your coworkers too.
Absolutely. So, you know, Hartford Healthcare has 33,000 employees, you know, one of the largest employers here in the state of Connecticut. And just looking at statistics, how many of them are that sandwich generation? How many of them are a caregiver to an elderly parent or a spouse? How many are looking to retire or need to retire early? Those conversations need to happen. So yeah, we have that opportunity to work with our coworkers and see how we can help them, and to make a plan.
I also think it's important talking about what are some of those resources. You know, some companies we have worked with in the past have actually determined and gone through the training and had a support group in their company, in their business. So it's kind of a closed group. It's not just like one that's open to everyone, because they realize that there's such a need that if, in fact, you know, once a month or once every other week, caregivers could come together and brown bag lunch, or now just virtually step away from what's happening and be able to vent, or just be able to get some other tips from other people, that's helpful as well. So we do have companies, you guys, that actually have their own support groups started, you know, run through us, and trained through us, so that, you know, we have support for these caregivers. Angela, you said that you saw some colleagues as well, right? You saw some actual folks who worked at the bank who needed our assistance as well.
Oh, absolutely. And it was wonderful to have the relationship with Alzheimer's to get some of the questions answered. You know, they needed caregivers because they were working, or the parents were out of town and so forth. So it's a wonderful relationship.
And
Also,
Jack,
Kristen, just
Yeah.
let me say something. I think it is very, very important. I know that you're doing a lot of training with the state police, but that local law enforcement are involved and are trained in how to help someone with dementia, Alzheimer's, or some form of dementia.
absolutely. Absolutely. We do some training on that too. It's very, very crucial, so they know what the next step is. Jack, have you seen any colleagues? Have you heard some colleagues, you know, being involved in Edward Jones being such a big supporter of us? Have you heard the same kind of thing from colleagues?
Yeah, absolutely. At Edward Jones, we have our own Alzheimer's Association 24/7 helpline. So it's dedicated for Edward Jones clients and colleagues.
Mm.
So it's a dedicated, you know, toll-free number, but it's open to Edward Jones clients, colleagues, caregivers, and their families. It's a confidential, reliable information support number with clinicians and specialists, and help is provided in 200 different languages, you know, to help, you know, all of our clients and their families. And this gives sort of crisis assistance and decision-making support. It gives referrals to local community programs, services, and ongoing support. It helps understand the signs of Alzheimer's and dementia, memory loss, aging, and brain health, and gives information about medications, treatment options, and providing access to care.
Yeah, very crucial. Jack, if I could ask, I know you've shared in the past a little bit about your connection to the disease and how it may have affected, you know, your work. I mean, you're kind of an example of being in the sandwich generation, you know.
I am indeed, yeah. I look after my daughter, and I've just been over to England to have, you know, spend some time with my mom, and her mum died with Alzheimer's, and you know, affected the whole family. I'm sure you know, many people on this call can understand the impact it has on families, and, you know, concern that my mum may be going the same way. And yeah, it's I just feel lucky that I'm able to help with the work that this, you know, this Hartford is doing with Alzheimer's, and just, you know, being able to help other people. And you know, Edward Jones has a little saying, which is that the end of Alzheimer's starts with you. So, you know, anything that I can do as an individual, and we can do as a company, really does, you know, make me feel better about you know, the future of this disease. And
Excellent. I'm just going to pause and see if I see one question in there, but is there anybody, does anyone have any questions that they want to put in the chat for Angela or Patty or Jack about the benefits, about working with us as a company? And if you want to put that in, I'll answer one that came up a little bit earlier, and maybe Patty, you can help me out with this, questioning about younger onset numbers. And I do know that we report, and I think other places like Mayo Clinic also reporting about 250,000 people in this country with younger onset. The issue being a lot of folks who come forward with some of these symptoms in their 40s and 50s, a lot of folks are not diagnosed. It takes a while to get a diagnosis, right, Patty?
It does. And there's a lot of missed diagnosis, especially if it's a frontal temporal lobe dementia. You know, folks who know about the different types of dementia, certainly FTD for short, is more of a personality. It's really not memory at first. So people are misdiagnosed. A lot of times they're diagnosed with bipolar or manic depressive. And to get beyond that diagnosis, once that diagnosis is made, takes a little bit of work and a challenge for the family and the caregivers as they're trying to find the best treatment. And certainly some of the medications that are used for some of the mental health issues don't work well with our folks who have truly a dementia. In fact, they have the opposite effects sometimes, those medications do. So that's one of probably the biggest challenges, Kristen. You're right, with that younger onset. And certainly we're talking about people 65 and younger. I think one of the other, big statistics that's out there is if you're under the age of 60 and you have a dementia, you have a 60% chance that it is a frontal temporal lobe type dementia. So it's a little bit higher when you're younger. And as you get older, it certainly waves up into the Alzheimer's world and less in the frontal temporal lobe dementia.
Again, all this information that we're putting out there, throwing out a lot for you, but know that we have a lot of classes that, this is the whole point, we have a lot of classes that we can provide to your employees, and we would just love to partner with you guys as companies. One real quick round robin, and then I'm going to send it on to our Director of Development to talk a little bit more about how you guys can get involved and we'll start with Angela, just really quickly, a quick benefit to being involved with the Alzheimer's Association from your company.
Well, I think that it provides an added sense of pride in their organization, in the organization that they're working for, because they feel that their employers go the extra mile in providing help and knowledge to both the employee, the employee's family, and to the clientele and to the customers. So I have seen that for so many years that our people we're just so proud of our bank.
Excellent. Thank you, Angela. Thank you. Jack, just a quick line. I know you kind of already said this, but anything else you'd like to add to what you already said?
Sure. I mean, we live and work in communities that we serve, and we want to make a difference in people's lives. It creates friendships, it brings communities together, and it allows everyone to feel part of a team. Fabulous.
And Patty?
Yeah, I think the word that popped right into my head when you asked that, Kristen, was support. Support for each other. As a professional who's been in the field for 30 plus years, to know that I can call that 1-800 number and say, this is the situation I'm in, or this is the question I have, and I know someone will be there to at least talk it out with me. We don't always know the answers, but sometimes just talking it out can help us through that situation. So yeah, the support from the Alzheimer's Association is what stays with me as we continue this partnership.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Patty O'Brien, Jack Evans, and Angela DeLeon for sharing the benefits. And now I'd like to turn it over to our Director of Development, Laura Hoffman, to talk about how you and your company can get involved with us. Thanks, everyone.
Well, thank you, Kristen, and thank you to Patty, Jack, and Angela for sharing how your company has utilized our resources, support, and education at your company. So you've heard from a company that identified an issue and utilized our services to train their employees. You've heard from a strategic alliance partner and how their company broadens awareness, funds research, and increases education opportunities to advance care and support for families impacted by Alzheimer's disease. And finally, you've heard from a local partner who has chosen to be a full mission partner by supporting our programs and events and connecting clinicians with Alzheimer's Association resources, tools, and training. Each one, again, highlighting how their employees have utilized our resources and how they have integrated our services and education. So as you can see here, businesses from across the state in all sectors are involved with the Alzheimer's Association and the Walk to End Alzheimer's. Leaders from all industries realize the importance of this partnership and the comfort and value it can bring to their employees. So, how can your company become more engaged with the Alzheimer's Association? So we will host 6 walks across the state in late September through mid-October, and we will bring together over 9,000 people in person. So we're so excited about all of our upcoming events. The Walk to End Alzheimer's is the premier event of the Alzheimer's Association. We reach more families and businesses than any other event that we host, and it is the world's largest event to raise awareness and funds for Alzheimer's care, support, and research. Corporate partnership and community involvement at the Walk build employee leadership skills through team captain engagement and create relationships with new audiences that could become potential employees and customers in the future. So if you're interested in volunteering on our committee, or if your employees would like to volunteer on Walk Day, we have plenty of opportunities. For more information or to register, you can visit act.alz.org/Connecticut to find the walk closest to you. And I assure you there's not one too far away. And now I will toss it over to Kristen Welton, our Greater New Haven Walk Manager.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today and for hanging in there for all of this. Great information. I think everyone shared some really great resources and tips. But I just wanted to give a special thank you to Edward Jones and CVS Health as our national presenting sponsors for the Walk to End Alzheimer's. Thank you as always. And then our national team experience encourages employees to participate in the Walk to End Alzheimer's while raising funds and awareness for Alzheimer's care, support, and research. The generosity of individual employees working with the support of the larger companies makes our national team program truly unique. National teams have a presence in at least 5 states, a company contact to coordinate the national team's experience. They ensure executive support and commit to fundraising and team activation benchmarks. A special thanks to Edward Jones, Brookdale, and Sigma Kappa for walking with us here in Connecticut. And at the platinum level, special thanks to LCS and Visiting Angels. All the national teams on this slide are eligible to have a table at our upcoming walks if they are registered and fundraising by August 1st. At the gold level, thank you to Home Instead, the Rotary Alzheimer's Dementia Action Group, and Prager Metis. And at the silver level, special thanks to Always Best Care, Artist Senior Living, Senior Bank of America, Benchmark, and Brightview Senior Living, Comfort Keepers, and Optum for walking here in Connecticut. And then at the member level, special thanks to Anthology, Assisted Living Locators, Genesis, Sunrise Senior Living, and Watermark for walking with us. If you are an employee of any of these national teams and would like to get more involved, please reach out to me or any of your walk managers or anyone that you know at the association. And our national partners, are joined by many local sponsors walking alongside us and determined to end Alzheimer's. We would like to recognize our Connecticut corporate sponsors listed on this slide. And thanks to their generous support, they allow us to serve more families and to accelerate research towards methods of treatment, prevention, and ultimately a cure. And then in addition to all of these sponsor benefits that are available, we have a special incentive starting today. You've heard the expression April showers bring May flowers. Well, that's definitely true at the Alzheimer's Association this year. From today to May 31st, any sponsor who commits to our $1,500 gold level or higher will receive a mini promise garden at the workplace. We will take a picture of your staff with the flowers and a sponsor sign and share it on our social media. As you can see, we have a few pictures of some of our sponsors who have already planted their promise garden across the state, and we're really thankful for all of them, and we'd love for you to join in and have your picture taken too. So if you're interested in making this commitment, just contact any one of us on the staff. So now you've heard all about the work that we do. You've heard about the partnerships and the benefits of working together with us. So are you ready to make a real difference in the fight against Alzheimer's? Are you really ready? If you are, we made it really easy. If you wanted to register for a walk now, you can use the QR code on your screen. That'll take you to the main walk page, and you just enter in your zip code and you can find the walk nearest you. And participation if you'd like to form a team, get a group of your colleagues together to participate on the team. There's also information there to reach out to your local walk manager if you'd like to join our committee or volunteer on walk day as well. We'd certainly love to have all of you join us. Walk is a truly special event, and it's a really great way to bring the community together and see the impact that Alzheimer's has on everyone. So if you're taking that step right now, I truly thank you. If you need a minute, we have, again, you can scan this and do it later, or we have the website was just posted in the chat if you wanted to revisit that later on today. So thank you all very much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. We appreciate every one of you taking your time out of your lunch hour to join us, and I hope you learned something and are looking forward to working together with you all this year and in the future.